Welcome back to the HGC. We are gearing up for our final series of Europe for the weekend. North America will be up next. And we gotta go on to finish here. Finally getting to see Tricked Esports. I'm not gonna lie, I've missed Alex. Haven't seen him in a while, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I want to see what's gonna be the current one trick, or if they are completely going in on the meta.
The Butcher one trick. Is it gonna come out today? We'll have to see here. Let's go ahead and check out the standings and see where exactly Tricked Esports is, which is actually kind of interesting to me because Tricked Esports was this team that we felt like had a really good chance of going to the Western Clash. In fact, they did. If they had won their series, they may have actually been going. But they're sitting down here at the bottom with Team Liquid with a 5-6, 3-4 record so far for them.
For Tricked, it's all about consistency. They sometimes are absolutely on point and they deliver, and then the next game they make major mistakes that cost them the game and the match. So this is a problem that they identified themselves, and they feel this season they've been stronger than ever before, have even more potential. And I wouldn't put it past them to actually go through now the second part and just deliver and make it, maybe even make it to the mid-season brawl. They have the potential to do it. The question is just simply, can they get those important wins against direct contenders like Fnatic, for example, or also now that we've seen how much Zealots have improved against them.
Yeah, they've even made some aggressive changes too to who's drafting and shot calling, but we'll touch on that pretty soon. Here, let's go ahead and check out the schedule for today. Earlier, if you missed it, we did have Leftovers and Zealots face off. A 3-0 in favor of Zealots, their first 3-0 of HGC League play, according to Chris. He tweeted that out. Leftovers, though, did look pretty good in the series. First couple of games were pretty great. Game number 3 is where they kind of fell pretty darn short.
They looked really, really good here today, and after the victory against Method yesterday, you can just see that the team is really improving a lot. They didn't get a map win today, but Zealots, of course, came out strong, and a very well-deserved victory for them. But Leftovers, definitely, they have still a few surprises in store for us, I feel.
Heroes Hearth and Gale Force Esports will kick off North America, and to end the weekend, LFM Esports versus Simplicity to finish off in A. So that'll be fun to watch. Now, back to Tricked Esports and Diamond Skin facing off. Make coming in here being a shot caller and a drafter now for Tricked Esports, making some aggressive changes, and they actually talk about it a little bit here now as we actually check in with our players.
We've been chilling a lot, playing a bit of Hero League. Alex has been streaming quite often, and that's pretty much it. We watched the Western and Eastern Clash, we got some ideas, and we're prepared for the next phase. We cannot underestimate Diamond Skin because they are against the ropes. A team that is against the ropes can win against the best team in the world, so we have to play our best and win versus them. Our shot caller and drafter, now it's Make doing the job, and we are just trying to find our path and normal drafts and so on. Rimmer was a bit burned about doing the job of shot calling and drafting. It's very stressful, and Make stepped up and he's doing the job now. I think we're gonna see a lot of Medivh for the upcoming weeks because it seems pretty busted.
I feel like Tricked will not take us lightly, like they did kinda in the previous seasons where they were like 2 games ahead and then they were like kinda, so to say, memeing around. So I think they will take this way more serious and try to get another 3-0 or like 3-1 in like in phase 1. So we will try to take another to look out for, I think, Crosby, the best cooldown in the world. So we will try to beat them regardless. But it's always harder, like of course, like with this big patches and Korea is not playing, China is not playing, no one is playing, so you're kind of defining the meta anew for your region. So it's always a little bit also pressure on your shoulders, I would say, as a drafter, or for now as Robadova as a drafter, because you're not 100% sure the first day.
Heroes Esports, where memes never die. Crosby's still the best Goldian in the world, and Bad Mini is still at horse camp. Love to hear it from the players as we continue to go through our interviews.
I forgot about that.
You can't forget about that. Don't worry. We're here to keep you updated on that. So, looking for the series as we get ready for Battleground number 1. What are you looking for, Caldor?
I have really no idea what to expect from Tricked at this point. It has been a while since we've seen them, so we don't know how strong they are. I would expect that that Diamond Skin is going to try and take the early maps here and play a more aggressive style than we've seen from them. But in my head, Tricked is still the favorite going into this. But now with them changing the drafter, again, having Make in there, I think we're going to see a bit of a different Tricked Esports. The one problem that I have is they talk a lot about consistency, but they have not only in terms of performance, but also in terms of how they structure their own play, no real consistency. We see Alex for a long time on the main tank. He switches over to the off lane. They switch him back on the main tank, back to the off lane. They have him as a drafter, as a shot caller. Then all of a sudden, Rimmerballer takes over. Now we have Muck in that position. So it's always a back and forth where you from one week to the next don't really know what to get. That's not necessarily a bad thing that they're trying to find something that they can be stable with, but it just feels it just feels like they haven't found it yet.
They got to find their anchor.
Up to that point where they have that anchor, where they have just that stable setup for themselves, I don't think we're going to see the stable performance coming.
Yeah, we don't really have an identity for Tricked Esports except for the hashtag #GetTricked, and that's basically all we have for them. It's a good starting point, that's for sure. Let's go to Battleground number 1 here as we start our best of 5 series. Looks like we'll be going to Volskaya Foundry, Diamond Skin with the choice. Brax's Holdout and Dragonshire have banned out. Dragonshire was banned by Dragonsky or Diamond Skin, and then Tricked Esports is the one that banned Brax's Holdout.
The interesting thing to me at this point is that Diamond Skin, okay, they changed their ban pattern because they always banned Volskaya. And now not only do they ban out Dragonshire over that, which makes sense since it's a map where they haven't found any success yet, they lost 3 games there, they all of a sudden picked the map that they so far always shut down. So very, very different approach. A 180 completely going from banning the map to first picking it here. So pretty interesting setup. And I'm curious to see what that means for us. Is it just the meta where they feel, okay, our style that we have to approach the game is something that we can bring into the limelight on Volskaya more so than on any other map? Or do they just, have they found some other strategy, something that no one else is really prepared for?
I feel like you're hitting the nail on the head there. I feel like Diamond Skin, based on what we saw on day number 1, is willing to adjust a little bit more poke type of compositions. We saw them play Junkrat, we saw them play Thrall. Both of those heroes can be strong on this Battleground, so Diamond Skin probably opening up their horizons a little bit, especially with the latest changes to this Battleground.
Malfurion is a first pick with a ban on Stukov. That makes a lot more sense as well. We've been talking a lot about Malfurion or support first picks in the first place. Oftentimes it's where you think about Tracer on the other side. You don't want to deny the Malfurion and Tracer composition to a team. But with Stukov being banned out, it makes a lot of sense to go for Malfurion as an early pick, since as we talked about earlier, there is these 2 supports that just dominate the European meta right now. And then always you have the second fallback option, which is Rhaegar and Uther.
Well, so far, we're getting an idea of what these new drafters for both of these teams think to be strong here. Diamond Skin showing off that Garrosh, and of course Robodoba being a tank main, of course he's going to be wanting to get that Garrosh ASAP, especially with the win rate that he's been showing in Europe. The Genji for Rosmeg, who did pop off with him on Friday, delivering multiple kills in team fights and setting up his team for that one victory that we did have over Zealots.
Yeah, Garrosh currently sitting at 11 wins and 4 losses in Europe. Diamond Skin has played 3 times with Garrosh in regular league play, but they hadn't found too much success yet. They lost 2 of those 3 games, but still, of course, a very terrifying front laner. We talked with Mopsio a bit earlier about the hero, and he feels that it's incredibly difficult to go up against Garrosh in the current meta. But Tricked is now going for what we more or less expected with the Malfurion first pick. They are looking towards Tracer as a combo, and they also have the very early commitment to plays on the solo lane.
Now, I'm kind of curious to see if Tricked Esports will take away the Malthael. Malthael was shown on Friday by Diamond Skin enjoying it on this Battleground, and with them having Blaze floating around and possibly those last rights could be a worthy ban. For Diamond Skin, they're thinking about what they want to get rid of here.
Yeah, Diamond Skin with a ban, that's going to be an interesting one, since with Blaze you are always in this weird setup where Blaze could be the offlaner or he could be the main tank. So we normally see him as the offlaner, but we have seen several games, Deacon comes to mind, where they switch him into the main tank position instead. And Diamond Skin isn't quite sure what's going to happen here either, but they would expect Blaze to sit on the off lane, and therefore they ban out a main tank, go straight for Johanna and trying to remove some of those blinds and displacements that we see for Tricked, or could see for Tricked. For Tricked, on the other hand, it becomes a little bit easier. There's several things they can target now. They can target the off lane and say, let's say, ban Sonya, for example. They could also even target supports if they want to push Diamond Skin into a certain direction, since as we talked about earlier, normally when you have Malfurion taken and Stukov banned out, the teams are looking towards Uther and Rhaegar, which also hold, of course, Cleanse.
Yeah, if you were to choose between supports, would you rather choose Uther here to keep away that Genji combo, or do you think Rhaegar might be a safer ban?
I don't really think they're going to ban the support, but if they ban the support, then I would most likely head into a ban on Uther for exactly the combo that you point out. Make sure that they don't have the Dragon Blade with Genji available. Not sure if Trick really needs to be super scared of it, because they have Blaze and can always use that bunker to mitigate some of the damage quite easily as well. And it would be... They actually banned the support, and they banned Uther. Didn't really expect they would go for that, but if they can now maybe even pick up some of these poke heroes that we talked about earlier, Trick has a really good shot at pushing him down. But there's Sonya. I personally would have banned out Sonya, especially with all the dominance that we've seen. But as we just explained, it makes also sense if you want to target supports. But that brings us now into Diamond Skin. Most likely running Rhaegar. They have Sonya now, and they have Junkrat. And I feel that made that draft actually quite strong now.
I was wondering if Diamond Skin was going to pick up that Malphio again, but it seems like the Sonya being settled in. Obviously, you bring up good points. She's been quite dominant this weekend, and a lot of teams have been putting a lot of priority on her. But now suddenly you have that Malphio who can be pretty strong against Garrosh and decent against Sonya too, and be able to hold his own against the lanes available for Trick Esports. And as you mentioned, Blaze can be that main tank if they need it. So I feel like that Malphio, I was kind of wondering if Diamond Skin's going to pick it up and they just completely negate it.
With Trick, you never really know quite what you get. You can get a very normal, a very meta draft where they go for strong heroes, as Tracer is for them. But there's always this Alex factor, where sometimes Alex just goes in and says, hey, I'm absolutely loving this hero. I think this is a strategy that we can use. The roaming Zul, which a lot of teams had trouble at the beginning to deal with. And then when he started to one-trick Blaze for a long time, where other teams just weren't sure, is Blaze strong enough? Can we deal with Blaze?
Sure.
Like, how do we do that? So when Alex actually finds something that he wants to play, there's usually a very good thought behind it that gives them oftentimes a win or two. In this case, they stay very much with the meta. They go for Tyrael and have now Hanzo as the second damage dealer here. And that is a pretty terrifying lineup that they're running. Good shields for Tracer, gets the Tyrael shield, gets the Malfurion heals. That combo is strong. You have Blaze as another fallback option, and a Sanctification available too. Hanzo, of course, with those pokes, and I mean, the Scatter Arrows in particular have ripped through so many heroes this weekend.
Well, for Diamond Skin, Rhaegar is up and available for that final pickup, and we're expecting that. Cleanse, being able to bring out the shields at 13, get that accessory healing against Pulse Bomb. If they were to be a little bit off, I could see a Karazim coming out for them, helpful against Tracer. But he would have a really hard time dealing with the poke coming from Blaze and Hanzo.
Surprised me a bit that they take this long. I would have expected them to lock the support in a lot quicker than that. But yeah, I'm currently also thinking about what would be the alternative if you don't go for Rhaegar. And I don't think
Brightwing.
there's Brightwing for a second because of the polymorph against Tracer, but I don't really like Brightwing as a solo support. This is a topic that we've been talked about for a long time.
Caldor not liking Brightwing as a solo support? Where'd that come from?
Yeah, that's completely new, I know. Usually I go in the other direction. I'm actually a huge closet Brightwing fan, but I feel it's time to finally
just come out and say, you know what?
To the world and say Brightwing is amazing. I know Gilly owes me a coffee now, probably because I said that, but yeah. Yeah, Brightwing as a solo. There is a couple of comps where you actually play heavily around globals. Fnatic does that every now and then.
Sure.
Where Smexy can really make that work. There's a couple of Brightwing bomb combos where you can dive in with Genji and get an Emerald Wind after that. It was incredibly popular towards the end of 2017, where Brightwing made a lot more sense. I think also with certain pseudo supports or second supports, Brightwing can be played. But on this map and with the type of play that you have around the control point, I just don't think she provides enough healing, especially against the setup that we're seeing here with Tracer jumping in. Once you are out of the polymorph cooldown, you are in a really bad spot.
Yeah, her sustained healing is just not enough in any way, shape, or form. I mean, I'd rather have a Lucia if you're looking for someone that can just sit there and constantly heal.
I mean, you have to spell armor, that's something, but I just don't think it's quite cutting it here. And if you compare that to Rhaegar, I would take Rhaegar any day in the setup.
Well, Rhaegar is here for Diamond Skin, and they have a couple of the heroes that they showed on Friday, so looking pretty strong in terms of composition. Let's go to game number 1 here. As we watch Diamond Skin take on Trick Esports, we'll see if Alex and the boys can find a way to get tricked.
Game number 1, ladies and gentlemen. Volskaya Foundry is the map, and the map choice of our blue team to the left here. It is Diamond Skin with Robadoba on Garrosh. We're seeing Wolfjaw on Rhaegar, Nanda on Sonya, Darkmoga on the Rat, and Rosmek on Genji.
On the right side in the red, Hanzo will be played by Crosby, Rimmer on Tyrael, Make on Tracer, Alex Aproji will be playing Blaze, and Grandpa Kit will show off his Malfurion gameplay.
And again, Genji, played by Rosmek here. It's actually really important since he had some very cool moments when they played their previous series this weekend, so definitely one of the heroes to watch out for. Rosmek has found his stride in HGC. a bit more experience has helped him to know when he can go in, when he needs to be a bit more careful. Transitioning over from pure Hero League play, that was, of course, a very important learning curve for him. And he's doing well now.
That he is. His Tracer, the Genji. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him on more heroes as well. I'll just come in there and show how strong he is, because a lot of folks have backed him up as a strong player. But you also can't forget about Darkmok, who has consistently been a strong pickup for Diamond Skin. Coming in here on that Junkrat, which he'll continue to poke with and look for those opportunities to find somebody to throw into his team.
Yeah, and also Mark is already starting to become annoying here, but this is exactly when Rosmek starts to engage. Junkrat with the displacement is definitely going to be really important. The problem is, who do you target? After level 10, you have Blaze with Bunker Play, you have Sanctification Material. He alone can already jump out with the Eldrunes. Then you have Tracer with the Rewind. So there's a lot of tools that Trick has to deal with Junkrat's displacement.
Keeping an eye on Darkmok here, as a gank is heading towards the top left, but with the trap set up, Make unable to jump on top of him. So far, so well here for our teams, as the turrets are grabbed here on the left, and in fact, Diamond Skin is in a spot where they might be able to invade or at least slow down their opponent on the turret on the right side as they grab theirs first. They even get a little bit of pressure on Alex approach, jumping straight on top of him. He'll pop his attack speed here and stand right in the middle. One of the annoying things about Blaze is he's willing to take a 2-on-1 whenever he has that stem pack cooldown.
Yeah, Alex is usually pretty smart when he comes to his play here. He's always memeing a bit on stream, but in general, he knows exactly what's coming and how far he can go with a hero. So especially when he finds a hero that he really likes and he one-tricks for a while, he usually learns everything about that hero and knows in and out. And he has absolutely no problem staying with Blaze in that 2-for-1 setup that we just saw at the bot lane. We have Trick still grabbing their own turret, so Diamond Skin was a bit wary of engaging into that. It's just too far out and makes it very easy for Trick to collapse onto them. But I also want to highlight Hanzo again. The build, very different from what we've seen since the Eastern Clash.
Yeah, going into the Stormbow here. Explosive Arrow, great for clearing out those minion waves, which can be helpful. It's also a much safer type of playstyle, which is going to be helpful against a Genji or even a flanking Sonya that could be coming in. You do miss out on the poke and the scatter arrows that we've seen a lot of teams pull off, but again, wave clear and just being able to help soften up your opponents gives Tracer the ability to go in and get those kills.
Yeah, it definitely does. Once that you start poking in and Tracer can confirm the kill, that's exactly what you're looking for, of course. But it's still interesting to see that different teams prioritize different builds, especially after we've seen some very strong trends through the offline events. And as we heard from Grand Paquette in the interview, it's one of the things that they've been looking forward as well. They want to see, okay, what happens at the Western Clash? What kind of meta emerges at the Eastern Clash? And what can we adapt to make our own play stronger? And talking about their own play, they already take a very demanding position on the control point, and therefore the first percentage points are ticking up in their favor, as Robodoba is starting to make the engage, and of course Junkrat, always with those traps trying to secure the platform.
Diamond Skin brings all 5 and they go for a Rimmer. Rimmer already throwing down the Eldruins, expecting that to come out though, able to jump away from the fight, while Blaze is taking the opportunity to push in the top lane. And they have a Merc camp to help push that lane as well afterwards, so if he can get that push to the tower, they'll put Diamond Skin in a spot where they have to head over and defend it.
Yeah, it's also for me interesting to talk about Make as a shot caller, since normally what you want to do is most teams really like to have their main tank being the shot caller because he's usually the one that starts an engage. And while you could always make the argument that the off tank on or the melee assassin would be another good hero, he's usually so busy on that one-on-one lane that he misses out on a lot of the rotations that happen on the map. It's one of the positions that a lot of teams actively search for a tank that can actually shot call at the same time. We had that, for example, with Team Liquid. So now having Make in that shot call position is already really interesting for the game flow, but up to this point at least, there's very good ideas of how Trick deals with it. They are currently taking all the experience on the lanes, always splitting heroes off. So far, I'm really liking what I'm seeing here, but of course, Diamond Skin is fighting back hard as well.
Speaking of shot calling, Make goes in for Darkmok, and he gets the pick. Nande looks to be next here as Rimmer is thrown into the middle of the fight. Nande is able to escape, and Rosmek pokes on the left, but the Protector is going over to Trick Esports.
Yeah, Roba nearly killed Nande there when he threw Tyrell on top of him. So that would have been 1 or 2 hits, and then immediately Sonya would have died as well. But as is, Sonya survives. The problem is that the Protector still goes over to Trick Esports.
Now it does, and they'll start pushing in this bottom lane. With Tyrael and Tracer inside, they're able to start popping damage, and they pop enough on Nande, and Nande gets rooted and killed.
Yeah, Nande goes down, and that, of course, was the perfect route from Grand Paquette. Great plays down here. And this allows them all of a sudden to go straight for the main structure, for the fort itself. And we already see them just creating even more space. Experience ticking in now. for Trick. They still have Blaze at the top, and Alex is just delivering experience for his team, as down here we are seeing even more pressure against Darkmok, who has to go for the panic button and immediately move out.
And the Protector gets aggressive here after clearing the wave. The minions and Hanzo cleaning up that fort, chasing down that Genji. Hanzo Malfurion able to escape well too, and Trick Esports suddenly about to hit level 10 off of this first Protector. That is actually a really good run.
Yeah, Alex has been soaking 2 lanes, and they are doing even more work now over here in the mid lane, and trying to see if they can maybe take down another fort, or at least the tower. The tower falls, 10 is there, and they can aggressively dive behind this, so Diamondskin has to be super careful with their positioning.
Especially with Groundbreaker being down. Make will step up, put a little bit of harassment there on Robodoba. The fort continues to be focused. Bunker even being popped in. Trick Esports wants to definitely take out this fort, and there she goes. 2 forts down, and Trick Esports a full level and a half ahead of Diamondskin.
2 of the fountains also taken away, so that is great for the... Actually, for the next phase, we should spawn it to the top, so it's not going to have too much of an impact. But that was insanely well done. Nearly a 2-level lead of the first Protector, getting 2 forts. The structural advantage alone is already incredible for them here. And they still hold that level 10 advantage, so they can aggressively push the top lane, and there's very little that Diamondskin can do about it, except, of course, for a Garage throw, and Robodoba gets the perfect one.
And speaking of level 10s, I don't know if you mentioned this here, did you notice the level 10 pickup here for Tyrael?
Loving it. Judgment into Enhancer Arrow. We've been talking about this comp a lot. It's actually a comp that has been coming out just at the beginning of HGC in 2018, when we saw Hanzo enter the fray, and it has been played on the Korean side. And I like that we have a bit of an adjustment here, super aggressive. But the problem, of course, is there's still cleanse on the side of Diamondskin.
Exactly. That means the cleanse has to be used, or Rhaegar will be the main target. And if Rhaegar is paying attention there, which Wolfsbro should be, he's just going to play a little bit more safer and stay behind enemy lines.
Yeah, exactly. So normally I would have expected this combo to come out against Malfurion or a Stukov composition. But if you go for Rhaegar and you find that judgment into an arrow, then Tracer can just dart in and take it out. And this is exactly what we're even seeing here. We have that engaged, and we see a quick X strike, but it's just not enough. And in this case, we actually didn't even see the Hanzo arrow. So that was just the judgment being used together with Tracer jumping in, not even a pulse bomb being used for the kill.
Wow, Trick Esports securing another kill, 3-1. And they are looking to grab level 13. With the control point coming around the corner, they're also doing their best to soak this bottom lane with Alex and Pro G stepping up. He knows he has his trusty Rimmer on the backside to escape to if he needs those shields. Not able to sway him away from that experience, but that opens up the middle lane where Trick Esports is already soaking.
Yeah, and coming back to Judgment, I really like the adjustment as well, because what we've seen at the Western Clash was a lot of Tyrael and Blaze, because you have 2 layered defenses that you can use with Sanctification and the Bunker. And that's great when you want to go for long, sustainable fights and can really turn the tides of the battle. And Sanctification is, of course, still the go-to. But every now and then, if you feel the composition is in favor of it, you can just switch out one of those defenses for a more aggressive move. And that's what Trick currently does here. If Cleanse is, for example, out and they know it, and they just use that combo for Junkrat, there is absolutely no way to save Junkrat.
And it also shows off why the Q build has been picked up by Hanzo. Again, additional layer of single target damage coming out on one target. And the Q being revved up there, the Stormbow, should be enough there for Trick Esports to help secure that kill.
It always makes me happy to see slight adjustments. With Trick, we get it a lot with hero choices, but now even with the build and the combos on level 10, we see that again. And at this point, they have 3 kills against 1. We are seeing them in the control of the control point, of the checkpoint, and Tricked also with a talent advantage. So let's have a look at how Diamondskin is getting around this. I also want to highlight it again. We talked about it being picked earlier, but we haven't really mentioned it too much. X-Strike being used, one of the reasons, of course, this exact Judgment combo.
Trying to dodge out on that CC coming in. Rimmer gets thrown around the corner here, low on health. Is going to have to back up and jump on top of the bunker. Still has that judgment available if they want to turn around for a fight. Rosmeg putting a little bit of damage in while Darkmok hits the big Rip Tire. Malfurion low as well as Hanzo, but the shields are coming out as Trick Esports kites backwards.
That wasn't really a start at Diamondskin. Sorry, the Trick wanted into this. Diamondskin confirms the kill as well. Robodoba really delivering here. With the setup that Tricked has with Judgment, you want to be the team that engages. And of course, it makes Tyrael a lot more vulnerable to any kind of displacement. Since normally when he's thrown in, you can drop the Sanctification and your team can move in with you and you try to force the fight. But now they're relying on Bunker. And that's what we saw there. Tyrael gets jumped in, Blaze jet propulsion to the front, drops the Bunker, saves Tyrael. But from that point on, Diamondskin is chasing and Tricked is losing hit points. And that is a very awkward position for them. They want to be in a spot where they call the shots, they call the engagement, and they start to initiate.
Diamondskin continues to hold down the point here. Robodoba and Darkmach being there. We're going to have Hanzo spawning soon, and he is coming towards the fight, but he only has the Dragon's Arrow in about 10 seconds. So Trick Esports will have to fight without that major engage, but they do have Judgment. So watch for Rimmer to decide when he wants to go in.
At this point, they have everything up and ready and can use it here, of course. Already the poke happening, and Trick has reclaimed the platform. They still have the lead in experience. All the heroic abilities are ready on Trick's side. We still have a few cooldowns for Diamondskin. But this is where Alex is anchoring the front. Marco already looking to see if he can maybe get a bit of damage onto Rosmek down here in particular. And we still wait for Tyrael to start things up here.
Still sharking around. There goes the combo. Robodoba will start things up, throwing Rimmer to the middle. Robodoba on the top right, controlling the point well, and Alex Proje decides to go in and put on the other 4. There goes the Dragon's Arrow, lands on top of Nande, and Darkmach will take the Pulse Bomb and the Ancestor Healing.
And here comes the engage onto Sonya this time. They're going for her. Silencing as well, and they try to get the kill. Remmerballer's already jumping out, and Nande survives. Great play by him. X-Strike on Grand Paquette, denied by the Ice Block. Well done by Malfurion, but Trick is on the way back. And once more, Diamondskin survives.
Wow.
Spectacular play, in particular, by Robodoba and Grand Paquette.
Back and forth between these two teams, 87 to 82% on the control point, trying to contest the area. Robodoba taking a little bit too damage, has to back away, but Nande wants to turn around. Pops the Wrath and the Spear, but with the root, he's stuck in a corner.
One of the big problems here for Trick so far has been Rhaegar. Grand Paquette doing so well to keeping them alive, and once again the engage is happening as we see the 99% already for Trick. Bunker is in, Trace size down though, and that's the problem. Everybody on the side of Diamondskin is already low, but still the kill goes to them. Tricked in trouble as they are all of a sudden in a 4 vs 5 situation.
They're in a 4v5, but at the same time, Diamondskin is low on mana. Can they tap and come back and fight? It looks like they're going to start to control the point. 88%, 89, 90 there, climbing to grab on. Crosby comes in and pokes slightly here. Nande at the same time is thinking about backing.
They're going in the middle though. We have Alex in the middle. They want level 16. They want to defend against the Protector with a talent advantage and use that to burn it down quickly. But great play again. And I have to highlight Rhaegar here. Every time an engage happens, either through Hanzo's arrow or Judgment, we see Rhaegar not only with the cleanse, with the immediate heals, the Ancestrals, and his positioning in these fights is so key, since the ideal target for Trick Esports is Rhaegar, but he keeps himself so far behind that it's hard for Trick to engage, but at the same time close enough so he always gets the heals in if there is an engage on any other target.
Trick Esports, with that push in the middle lane, was able to get 16, so now they focus on defending against his Protector. Rosmek taking a little bit of damage here from Maka as well, waiting for the deflect so he can do a Pulse Bomb, but the Swift Strike will get Rosmek out just in time while the Protector opens up the middle.
And the Protector, of course, delivers experience to Diamondskin. This is where they can really catch up and maybe even set themselves ahead. 3 kills against 3, very even game up to this point. And Diamondskin is now starting to take a slight lead in experience thanks to them destroying more and more structures with the Protector.
Yeah, looking for their own wells to take down 2 against Trick Esports for the next control point that will be coming around. Constant siege from this Protector, and they take down the well. Look a little damage on the 4, and they're looking for a Crosby. They find him. He gets taken out. X-Strike is used. Grandpa Kid is low, and he falls too.
Rosmek delivers once again here. The double kill with Malfurion Hanzo falling. A great flank initiated by Sonya as the spear connected onto Maka, and all of a sudden everyone was in disarray here. 2 kills against Tricked, and Diamondskin is really starting to put their name onto the board here as they are starting to get more and more of a lead in game number 1.
Yeah, they're fighting themselves more ahead here. 5-3 ahead in levels as well. 17 to 16 3/4. They also have taken down a fort in the bottom right. The only thing that Trick has going for them is that they have 2 forts down themselves. They're looking for a kill here, trying to tie it up in experience against their opponents, but so far, Rosmek has been quite a pain on that Genji.
Yeah, Rosmek has been doing really well, and this is what we talked about at the beginning of the match, that he now seems to have found his rhythm in HGC. We saw him with some great Genji play on Friday already, and he's just delivering once again. So he's really in that spot where he can make it difficult for Malfurion. And even earlier, when he forced Malfurion into that ice block, there was nearly a kill that we saw against him. So great plays here from Diamondskin, but Trick still has that aggressive combo. And what they need now is a good setup. They need one of these combos, making Judgment into an arrow happen, getting those quick kills with the help of Maka, because if they start to fall farther and farther behind, it becomes tricky. It's really difficult to make these plays with Judgment in team fights when you are behind.
Yeah, Tyrael especially has been playing a little bit more of a flanking type of style, sitting on the side, letting Blaze open up the fight so we can go in for that Judgment. But anytime that Tyrael's not available or spotted by Diamondskin, they're playing safe. Look at this, hiding in every corner.
Yep.
Wolf Joe making sure not to ever get caught out.
One of the problems for Remmerballer was just heads up the play from Garrosh. Robadoba is always targeting him here, and when he jumps him or throws him in, there were very few instances where Tyrell could actually escape, since there was always a follow-up with spear, with damage, and even if he got out and didn't die, he was so low that the entire initiation process that Trick is banking their hopes on couldn't be executed anymore.
Well, Trick taking their time here to group of 5 and put themselves in a position to where they can catch Diamond Skin, possibly rotating down to this control point that will be up soon. Also doing their best to push out the wave. So they're playing together as 5 to make sure they can get that minion experience because they need it, knowing how far they are behind.
Yeah, so not really a kill on the side of Trick now that they were trying to set up these traps. Nobody really moving out too far on Diamond Skin's side. They're playing this passive, and so they should. But we have now more and more minions, of course, taken away by Trick, so trying to catch up in experience. They're level behind. And at this point, I would be worried if I was them that level 20 is there in time for Diamond Skin to contest the next Protector, because that's going to be a pretty tough one to beat 16, 17 minutes into the game.
Diamond Skin playing this so well, still waiting on grabbing that camp there to the top. They want it pushing during the control of the bottom point. Trick realizing they need that experience, go straight for a fort, and they'll be able to open it up pretty easy there. Get a nice chunk of experience, and also look towards maybe trying to find a Rosmeg.
Yeah, that was actually really well done, because Trick the entire time was setting up traps, hoping to get a kill. When they realized, well, that's not really going to happen, they 5-manned the top to get the fort, and that delivered a huge chunk of experience into their hands, so they're closing this gap a little bit. They still are behind, and quite significantly at that, since Diamond Skin is aiming for Storm Talons. But if they can get a bit more damage done, grab a few more waves, they might be able to have a chance to come back into it.
Meanwhile, Sonya grabs a control point, and Trick Esports moves in for a 5v4.
Judgment, Rega.
There's the Judgment, as you mentioned. Make comes in and drops the pulse bomb.
Yeah, and they're going for it, and this time they get the kill. The Ancestral is just a second too late, but we have the Reptile coming through, and that's the kill against Crosby. Hanzo is down, a 1-for-1 trade, as Alex is already attempting to disengage here. Diamond Skin hasn't hit level 20 yet, but they will in just a few seconds, and Tricked Esports is a far cry away from getting their Storm Talons.
Oh, Crosby having a hard time there. That Riptire, just a little bit too much damage. The bunker was thrown down, but he couldn't hop into it, knocked away from the area, and he falls victim to Diamond Skin. And Diamond Skin with this 4v4 will be happy with the position they're in.
Also, the combo for Trick did not even completely execute it. They went to the Judgment and the roots were there afterwards, but there was no chance to follow up with the arrow. So Rega survives, and now his Ancestral is ready again. He threw it out to save Garrosh, but Garrosh died just before it could connect. I also want to highlight that Malfurion never used the Twilight Dream. If at any point Grandpa gets into a position where he can really use that in such a team fight, it could be the game changer. But now, Diamond Skin is just in a demanding position with a level 20 talent. They have now taken the bot lane. It looks more and more as if Trick just realizes, boys, we can't contest it. Give them the Protector, try and save the game. Probably won't be able to save the keep here. But yeah, they need to fight another day because they just can't make their way back down in time.
And they're threatening a push in the top lane. They'll open up this keep wall, they hit that level 20, trying to see if anyone comes back to defend them, at which point they head back and defend against the Protector.
They need to be careful, Diamond Skin. They're moving in and they're going to try and threaten that keep, but for a moment I was really thinking of Tricked Esports just simply going for it here.
They decided not to. Seeing a couple people come in, Make looks at Rosmeg. Does he get the actual damage in? The X-Strike afterwards, Rosmeg, bit of a panic there, trying to make sure he stays alive.
This is an interesting setup that we have. Only Sonya is in the Protector at the bot lane right now. So she's missing. Hanzo was still there, so time's ticking. It's another minute and 10 seconds that you have. That's plenty of time to do a lot of damage. But Diamond Skin want to walk away with a keep. And that's where everybody is now converging onto the bot lane. But Trick is already starting to poke the Protector down slightly. And they have that level 20 talents now as well, which gives us the Angel of Justice on Tyrell's side.
Make cutting backwards, and now it's all about defense. And you're going to see the Protector shred through this keep wall, but can they get the actual keep itself? With Dark Monk in the back line, continue to poke with the grenades too, that is a bit of a threat towards Trick Esports, and they have to position appropriately. This Protector is actually getting burned down pretty quickly. It goes down to half health, and with the combo, puts some damage on Make, but with Grandpa Kit back to keep Make alive, he's just fine.
That was a really good defense. Tricked with a force to the top was really well done. Here comes the first stun, and Judgment into the back line. We have the range increase, but Remaball is completely exposed as nobody follows it up. Nobody going in with him.
Even
Definitely miscommunication there. He thought, I think he really thought that everybody was with him on the same target and they would go for it. But the arrow was already used for Sonya, and then as he starts to jump in, there's no one else there. So he is just in the middle of everybody else, and It's basically a suicide at this point. It was a 1 versus 4 that he was fighting there.
And now Trick is in a position where they have to defend 5v4. Make goes in for a little bit of harassment while Nane drops down the spear, but the Keep looking to not be so lucky here as it gets poked down pretty aggressively. Alex approaching position for a jet propulsion if anyone groups up, but not wanting to go in until he has his material back, which will be in 28 seconds.
Yeah, and Tyrell is also going to have the Angel of Justice ready. Now, the cooldown reduction through 20 is pretty significant, but when I saw that talent come online, I was really expecting a lot of aggressive moves, and we see very few judgments that we've seen so far, and not a lot of them have really been followed up by anything. If you get that stun in and you get a follow-up and then you have a Twilight Dream, that should confirm a kill. But so far, Trick has really done a pretty poor job just getting all those cooldowns in line and making sure that they are jumping onto the same target. And that's starting to become a bit of a problem. So they need to just sync this up better, and then they have a good chance here.
Speaking of problems, the top lane pushed in a little bit by minion waves, did a little bit of damage there, so we had to have Dark Mac come back and defend it. So we didn't have them fully commit to that keep on the bottom right, especially with Tyrael spawning up. And now we're set up for the 4th control point, which is very similar to what we saw earlier with Zealots versus Leftovers. Leftovers controlled the first couple of points, got the Protectors going their way, but we are in a position where this next Protector, this 4th one, could be game-ending. Yeah,
and for Trick, it's really, in my opinion, about the combo. Whereas Diamond Skin is doing very well so far. We have Robadoba doing a fantastic job at that front line with Garrosh. We always see Sonya moving in aggressively, Nande with so much pressure. And the one hero that has the most... I mean, there's 2 heroes, basically. With first of all, from a position of Trick Esports, they're looking a lot towards Garrosh because they are trying to make sure that they're not getting flipped, then not getting taunted. Then we have Sonya, who wreaks havoc at that front line too. That creates space that all of a sudden exists for Genji, where Roskmek really has a great time looking for targets, poking a little bit from a distance before he starts committing with a swift strike. But the one hero that benefits most of this entire setup is, I feel, Junkrat. Darkmog is just sitting there, and no one goes for him. He's just sitting there the entire time, and we have so many factors that Trick has to pay attention to, that he's the one that just throws out nades the entire time, and he's just sitting there, it's like, yeah, this is awesome, I like this.
And he has a Riptire too, which can be in a spot where he doesn't have to blow it immediately. Yeah. He can position it where he needs to. If he just wants to disrupt Trick Esport and their full wombo combo, he completely can. And he can get kills on Hanzo if he's able to land that Riptire at a good point.
Exactly, Darkmog is having a great time here. Nobody really takes care of him, but he's the one who pushes out the damage. He has 64,000 damage in this game against heroes, and he's taking the top spot in the game. Second is Roskmek with 61k, and just then Crosby comes in. But there's a blow-up, Malfurion, Genji down this time, and this is more like it. Now they're going in for aggression. Only 5 seconds, and we're going to see another Judgment available. They could turn this around once more. Riptire is taken out, and now Tyrael could go for another Judgment here if he finds a target.
Jet propulsion and to get stuffed. Just enough for Trick Esports to get a kill on Genji. Roskmek, the only thing he could have done there is not be walking near that bush. He should have had a tank go in front of him, but still, that's how quick Trick Esports can be post-20 at getting a kill.
Yeah, Get Stuffed is a pretty good talent, though, so far.
Yeah, it's pretty decent.
It's actually brutal. Like, the plays that he can make with Tracer are insane, and that's what we saw there. And that quick overblowout against Genji is just making the life of Diamond Skin with his Protector incredibly difficult. I could have even seen Trick going straight for another Judgment once they had the cooldown.
Here, real quick, you just see Roskmek step up and he can't even move. Just straight into a jet propulsion. Make goes in, drops in the Get Stuff, and gets the kill, and the rest of Diamond Skin are just frantically trying to escape.
Yeah, and Tyrael gets interrupted as he goes for the Judgment, but he could have used it right away afterwards. Grandpa Keto also taking the Riptire down, which was pretty important here. But they have the Protector one way or another, and of course they're aiming for the top lane, where they clean out the wall, and they can't just go straight for the keep itself. And we are finding ourselves once more in a situation where one kill can already mean core.
And they're going to be looking for that kill. Jump on top of Nande, put him down to half health, he'll pop his Wrath, turn around and apply some damage, but the keep is just getting chunked down every time that robot punches it.
Double turret, and that actually really helps them to chunk down the Protector. That's actually great. So they use the items to make sure that they're chunking down the Protector as fast as they can. So good play by Diamond Skin. They can't save the keep, but now they made it a lot less likely that Trick can walk towards the core and end the game.
Yeah, don't save the keep, but they save the game. Diamond Skin controlling the minion waves too, get the turrets popping out, and now it's all about the next Protector. Trick Esports kiting down here, get a little bit more damage. Ooh, almost getting Roskmek there, but able to Swift Trick away.
22 versus 22 in levels, 7 versus 5 kills in favor of Diamond Skin. Now a bit more damage towards the mid lane, but the first keep of the game has fallen up at the top. And now Trick Esports is aiming to open up the wall here in the middle to open up another win condition later on, where they can start poking against the keep itself. Darkmog throwing grenades the entire time. Nanda moving to the front now as well. But we still have those bunker plays, if needed, on the side of Alex.
Still sieging like crazy, trying to make sure they don't get poked down here. Want to be able to use that hand and a stun out the keep.
Bot lane, on the other hand, they're going to lose a keep if they don't pay attention here. There's a massive wave that is aiming for it, and yeah, that keep is falling.
It has to be down already, right? Yep, it's about to get poked down. At the same time, Trick Esports deciding whether or not they want to fight in the middle, as Diamond Skin is desperately trying to keep him here.
Yeah, but this keep is definitely going to die, and this is a problem for Trick. They could have moved away after taking the keep at the top and just simply prevented it, but now we're again tied. Keep on both sides is down.
Alex Aproji goes for a big jet propulsion and completely whiffs it. Make takes some damage, has to use the recall to get out, wants to try and jump in the bunker, but is unable to do so, and Make is down.
And this is once again thanks to Roskmek. Not only did he deliver the final blow, but once that he saw that engage happening, once that Roba Doba did the combo, he immediately jumped in after Tracer, forced her into a really bad recall, which yes, put Make next to the bunker, but there was no way for him to actually enter it or do anything with it because he was low in HP already as it happened. So great play here from Roskmek. I really like the way that he's coming into form in this time.
Diamond Skin toying with the idea of possibly going for a push for the core, but they have to respect their top lane. Catapults are already grouping up and pushing into their core, so they back up and grab the turret instead, and they'll send someone back home to defend that soon.
Yeah, respect the Winions.
Gotta respect them, man.
They need to actually do exactly that because...
it's 26 minutes!
Yeah, there's still the towers at the top. I'm not quite sure if they realize how much damage this is going to do. They need to send someone back fast.
Alex is going to try and chase him down. Okay, so there's two catapults here.
Look at that damage output.
Already going through the core. Here's up there to join in as well. Nobody's backing yet. Okay, Junkrat's trying to back right now, and the core will take some hits. Down 10%, down to 14, 76%, 71, and finally they will clean this up. But that is 40% done to their core.
Yeah. And now we are having the engage forced by Remaballer as he judgments in. They can't get too much out of it. Robadoba is still there. That was actually lucky for them that not more happened here. If Hanzo would have still had his arrow and could have followed up that properly, this could have been a disaster for them. They have 56% on the core right now.
And Trick Esports this time are paying attention to their mini-map. They'll be able to clean these catapults up. And now we're setting up for our 5th conveyor belt, which, to be fair, is more in Diamond Skin's favor. It's towards the top. They can defend the catapults coming in.
Yeah.
And Trick Esports will have to pay attention to the catapults in the bottom.
It's definitely true. They have now a situation in which the bot lane is going to continuously push against Trick, and that makes it a bit awkward for them to fight at the top. But I'm still a little bit shocked that Diamond Skin didn't identify earlier that they had to back here. 26-minute catapults are no joke.
I'm waiting for this next control point setup, and both teams are as well, clearing out the minion waves. I like what Trick Esports does here.
Yeah.
They push as far as they can on the bottom lane, trying to make sure that they have a minion wave stacking up to deter those catapults that will be coming in.
This is them buying time.
Yeah.
Just trying to make sure that the catapults are going to take ages to arrive at the core so that they can fight to the top. Cooldowns are all ready. There's nothing on CD at this point, so they can start fighting, but the position is a bit better for Diamond Skin as they're already holding that spot here. But we see Trick pushing up to the top right now towards the fort that they still hold on the map. But as you said before, the catapults are actually an advantage, or sorry, the position is an advantage for Diamond Skin since they can clear out the catapults here to the top in the meantime. Garrosh already taken the spot here, and this is where Alex moves in. Immediately the turret is being dropped by Diamond Skin, and this is just now. This is going to be the last one. This Protector is definitely going to end the game.
Roskmek has to use his X-Strike on the back line. Nande over here putting a little bit of harassment on top of Make, but Make is answering back more here. Put him down to half health.
Yeah, Nanda needs to be super careful, especially since there's still a pulse bomb available. But already the poke happening again towards the back line.
A little bit of damage there on Darkmok. Crosby tossing out those arrows as much as he can here. Make has a pulse bomb available too. Nande goes in and gets stuffed as Make puts some damage on Nande.
Yeah, Nande nearly falling here, but he survives for now. And actually, even Ancestral is still up. They can hold Ancestral, but here comes the taunt. They're going for it. They're trying to get the kill against Tyrael, but at the same time, Garrus is already down and he's dead, and so is Sonya. The double kill, and now the Ancestral finally comes out. It hits Genji. The Riptire pushes Grand Paquette back, but this is a disaster for Diamond Skin. 2 heroes down, and this is 29 minutes into the game.
Roskmek goes for Grand Paquette, and he gets low. He uses the Ice Block, but he steps up a little bit too far, and he actually gets taken out too. So suddenly we have no healer for Trick Esports, and Genji is very happy with this. Puts a little bit more damage there on Blaze, and he has to retreat.
Especially since Tyrael is insanely low at this point. That was a great kill, and all of that thanks to Darkmok with that isolation. That really helped them. But time is still working in Trick's favor right now. They can still move to the top and force the 4 versus 3. Before that, Tracer moving down to the bot lane, making sure that she takes the catapults apart. And we are currently seeing in the mid lane another big wave pushing for Tricked.
Yeah, notice how she only kills the catapult. She knows the minions will be cleaned up by the core itself. Needs to get straight towards the teammates here. It's not about soaking here, just trying to make sure that she isn't dealing damage on that core. Now, Trick Esports grabbing that top control point, and we'll get a few more percentages there. But Garrosh is back, and so is Sonya.
Diamond Skin has taken the healing pulse. That's another big plus for them at this point now. And the bot lane is still pushing heavily, so is the middle. But Tricked is all of a sudden in a really awkward spot. They need to wait for Malfurion, so they will give up a few more percentage points before they start to go into the team fight again. But it's amazing to me that after losing 2 heroes, Diamond Skin was actually able to force Tricked back and is still in the game.
Killing that Malfurion, man. Grandpa Kid just stepping up just a little bit too far. Enough for Diamond Skin to slow down the game, and we're going to come down to another 5v5.
We are 30 minutes into this game. If catapults again lock onto the core of Trick, they are going to be in so much trouble here, and they cannot afford to lose the Protector either. So this is a very bad spot for them. They are definitely on the clock here.
Alex steps up, starts to control the point, and here comes the Riptide. Robodoba throws him to the top right corner. Maka here on the side, willing to move in for an engagement, but Nande was coming in for a sneak with a conveyor belt.
He missed the spear. He missed the spear, and here comes the immediate follow-up. And also Hanzo Arrow comes in, gets stuffed, not doing too much damage. Genji already trying to get the kill against Crosby, trying to get it here. Silence comes through. Tyrael is down, and so is Blaze, but at least they get Genji. Is that going to be enough, though? It doesn't look like it. The Protector has already been claimed by Diamond Skin, and this is disaster for Trick. They have only 3 heroes on the map. Catapults are moving towards the bot lane, and the Protector has also been claimed by Diamond Skin. 56% on Diamond Skin's core as they are starting to move to end the game 31 minutes into it.
Trick has to clean this up. They have to slow down the rotations as fast as they can here. Maka is trying to be annoying, but Diamond Skin is not even attempting to give them attention. Just going straight to the bottom lane and going straight for the core. If Sonya and this Protector get there, this is definitely lights out. Trick Esports doing their best to poke, but here's the damage. It's definitely going to be a core cleaned up here for Diamond Skin.
There's no way that Trick defends this. The Protector is already on it, and Hanzo is down. Junkrat blows him apart, and in this game, Dartmok has definitely made a name for himself. Tracer falls. 135,000 damage on Junkrat. 135k. The second highest damage was on Hanzo with 93,000. That is an insane discrepancy that we just saw there. And Junkrat also the one that delivered the blow against Malfurion as they were down 2 heroes, and it looked as if Trick has already the victory claimed 100%. So at that point, Dartmok stepped it up, gets the Crush Grenade in, pushes Malfurion into their midst, takes them down, and without a support, without a healer, there was just nothing that Trick could do anymore because they were so low in hit points. Diamond Skin secures that kill and fights another day and turns the game around and wins it.
Our number 7, our number 8 seeds here in Europe are definitely making big splashes this weekend. We also had Diamond Skin, just to remember, get a win on Zealous on this battleground. So it seems like this battleground is somewhere that they put a lot of practice into. I got to question whether or not they could take this gameplay and go into game number 2 and also get another win on Trick Esports. And if they do, that's the point where I'm like, all right, Diamond Skin, Leftovers, they put in some work the last couple weeks, and it's starting to really show.
Yeah, it definitely does. At this point, it felt like, again, it was, I feel, once more Garrosh. And I need to come back to Judgment. I thought Judgment was a really cool idea. The one problem, we talked about it right as it was chosen, was Cleanse. That makes it so much more difficult. But also I felt that the execution was really poor. The way that they used it, and they were never really on the same target. At some point, we saw him jump into the backline, finally getting a lock onto Rhaegar, which makes a lot of sense, and that can deliver a kill if there's a follow-up. But he finds himself completely alone and gets blown up. So in this game, there was just not enough synergy on the team to get value out of Judgment. Judgment can be amazing if you're the team that initiates, and if you have really clean target calls and everybody's on the same page. That wasn't the case here.
The other part, too, is... we started to get to a point where Robodoba was doing such a good job of comboing the Tyrael, because Tyrael at the first couple of stages was dropping the Eldruins and allowing that to happen, and then jumping to Eldruins.